Okay, so after that we have already running Kubernetes cluster on AWS. It's time to run this new open source project, Zeus, the cloud management suite, which leverages the Kubernetes capabilities and extend them by giving the end user access to the management and application development lifecycle of the cloud applications. And it ensures that the modern cloud providers will have the latest and the state-of-the-art cloud management tool. And of course, it's open source and it's part of the Dirigible Labs organization, which can be found on GitHub. Okay, so after that short intro, it's time to set up the cloud management suite. And here described the steps of the setup. We have several options like standalone Docker or Kubernetes cluster. And after that we have already running a Kubernetes cluster on the AWS. We are going to choose this option here. And here are some major prerequisites like having AWS credentials, having Kubernetes cluster up and running, and of course having configured Kubernetes command line interface. So here is the command that we need to execute in order to create our cluster, our Zeus Cloud Management Suite, of course, on the cluster. And here are the namespace, the service, and the stateful set, ingress, and so on, resources created for us automatically. So it's time to see what is really happening on the cluster. And let's check the pods in our namespace, which is Zeus. And we already have a running Zeus pod. And the next step on this guide is to get the access point, which can be retrieved by running this command. Okay, so here's our entry point. We'll open it in the browser, and after a successful login, we're in the Zeus cockpit. Okay, so this is the setup of the Zeus Cloud Management, and now it's time to get started with it. And let's check the Getting Started guide here. So the first thing that we need to do is to configure the cluster and to select the default one. And Zeus, of course, can run against multiple clusters, and it also can be part of the Kubernetes cluster itself, or it can be external, and there are several configurations for that. And as this is internal one, we can use the auto discovery option. Okay, so let's type the account name, the namespace, and of course it will be our only and default cluster. Okay, so let's see. The next step is to run some of our examples, and so far we have two, the Eclipse Dirigible and the Redis guestbook. And let's check what can be found here. Of course, there are a few prerequisites like having Kubernetes cluster up and running, installed Zeus, and configured default cluster for the Zeus. Okay, so here is the template definition, and here's how it looks like. It has a container, a template with a deployments, a deployment container, services, and so on. So let's start from the beginning. We're going to create a new container. It will be Dirigible. Okay, and we're going to use this image. And as you can note, this is the latest image available on the Docker Hub repository. And as always, we suggest to use either a release or milestone version. But for the demo, we are going to use the latest. Okay. And we can continue with the setup of the template, and of course you can go back and see the release guestbook template also. It has a lot of steps too, and in order to save time, I've already done the setup here. As you can see, we have Dirigible, Redis master, Redis slave, and PHP Redis containers created here. In the containers tab, in the templates tab, we have several deployments: the Dirigible, Redis master, Redis slave, frontend, and let's examine the Dirigible one. So down here we have a deployment. It's called Dirigible, and it has one replica only. It is bound to the Dirigible container, and it has a service that is of type of cluster IP, and it's running on port 880. Okay, we can edit it, and so on. We can see the PHP frontend template too, which has 3 replicas, and again container and service. Okay, so what we're going to do with that, all of these templates, of course we're going to create an application deployment. We're going to start application, and let's start with the Redis one. First with the master. After that we are going to deploy the slave, and last but not least the frontend, and let's call it PHP for example. Okay, and we can go back to the console line interface and see what's going on with the pods. Okay, so all of them are already running. The next step is to expose our frontend as an ingress resource here. And for example, it will be called PHP. It will be part of our subdomain starting with a PHP. So path. Here's our service that we must bound to it. And after a few seconds, the front-end application will be accessible on this link here. Okay. We're going to wait a little bit before the ingress definitions are updated. And here is our guestbook. And for example, here's our John Doe and Jane Doe. Okay. So long with the guestbook, it's time to do some real code. And for that, we have this development stacks. And simply by clicking the plus here, I am going to launch an Eclipse Dirigible instance with configured ingress controllers, replica set, and so on. We can of course monitor it here from the deployment tab. And here is our address here. If we go back to the code again, we can simply click on it, login on the Dirigible, and let's see if everything is working as expected. Here's our getting started project wizard, and I'll simply click finish just to ensure that everything is working fine. I'm going to publish the project, and here is our project inside Dirigible, which is running on a Kubernetes cluster already done.